Marriage is painted in a very glamorous way for the female children, which is great. But the problem with that is the inequality when it comes to the propagation of the message of marriage. What you see while growing up as a girl child is your parents, especially in Africa, Nigeria specifically, is your parents constantly hammering the need for you to be proper, for you to know how to cook, how to talk, because one day you'll be a wife. I heard that a couple of times. There were instances where you'll be like, oh, see how you cope with this in your husband's house. The same gospel of future marriage wasn't preached to the male children around. No, they were free to live their life. They were fearless. They didn't act like they were preparing for anything called marriage in life. Rather, they were focused on building themselves, building a career, and I must say being self-centered in the process, because in as much as this message is being shared to the female children, the males are also hearing you telling their sisters, telling the girls around how they should behave so that they can be ready for them. So generally, guys grow up being self-centered, having so much expectation of women, coming to fulfill. You generally see a guy say, oh, maybe you should go and marry you, if they see their friends cooking or cleaning the house by themselves and all that. So for many of them, it is like an escape from house chores. My mama did it, now it's time for another girl to take over. And even the women of the past generation, they didn't help matters, because they were the main people pushing this agenda. Not even the fathers. Yes, the fathers were part of it, but then the mothers were the main people pushing the agenda. And that is also because of their own upbringing. That's how they were brought up. They were taught to aspire to marriage, and they didn't know any better than to also teach the same gospel to their children. And also, we have often heard how a child or if a girl will be doing so well in her career, and people will not applaud her as such if she isn't married or tied to a man. What about in our society? I learned in some places, especially Lagos, in some places when you want to rent, they can even begin to ask you. Some landlords will even tell you straight up that no, I don't rent out my house to single women, because they'll be promiscuous. Hello, what is your business with their personal life? Whether they are even promiscuous or not, it is not your business. Now, marriage is not as glamorous as people tend to paint it for the girls. I personally feel that marriage is more advantageous to men. Like I said, many of them, the only reason why they will consider marriage is, okay, now I need somebody to have fun with. Now I need somebody to clean my house. I need somebody to cook for me. I think it is time I get married, Let me paint another scenario for you. Almost every proposal you see is filled with, of course, the man planning it. And then this girl that has been in a relationship for long, I don't know what she was expecting or not expecting. But during the proposal, you see all the jittering, all the happiness, and then during the wedding planning, how much she's so proud that she's about to marry, and you know how the friends are also aspiring to the same thing. No, don't get me wrong, I am married, so I know it can be a beautiful thing. I just wish the male folks share the same enthusiasm, because it is not sweet, it is not pleasant when the two parties involved are not on the same page or don't value the relationship in the same way. Now, I said earlier on that marriage is not as glamorous as women. Actually, the male folks enjoy marriage better. Now, after marriage, for most males, this is how their life goes. I am a Christian, and even though I'm a feminist as well, but I believe that God placed man in position of leadership at the home front. And yes, we are commanded to be submissive, but it doesn't mean being submissive to every Tom, Dick, and Harry out there. It does not mean you have to bow to any man out there in your workplace just because they are men or what. No, there's nothing like that. It is to your own husband. So don't get it twisted. So what happens now is for this husband is he makes the decision, and whether you like it or not, most of the decisions he makes must favor him. If he's a good man, he's going to carry the wife along, but ultimately when things and when the playing ground isn't leveled, he's going to tilt towards his own personal interest. So yes, career wise, he keeps pushing, and men are result driven, men are logical, men they pursue things, get what they want, they move on to the next. So once most men marry, they want to face their career, they want to grow, they understand that they have a family to take care of now, and so they face their career. In as much as they say it verbally that their marriage or their family is important, we have seen in many homes that that is not really the case. Many of them face their career, try to be better and all that, and then when it comes to moving, be relocating or whatever, many of them don't even have to do that. They may just continue their life the way it has been. Their life is not drastically affected by whether biologically or physically or otherwise. The only thing is they now have a help at home. They have somebody assisting them to do some tasks that they will have done initially. That's before the children comes in. Now when the children comes in, because they haven't been groomed to take that kind of responsibility, many of them don't even step in immediately. For most women have to do some schooling for them, and you realize these men didn't read marriage book, they don't read parenting book, they just want life to happen. So many women struggle with not enough support from their partners, especially in this side of the world. Like some men are not even prepared for that phase at all, and even for we women, remember we have been taught how glamorous marriage is, so there are some part of all of this that we didn't even consider properly, you understand? So you don't know the challenges and the time having children takes from you until you are in it. So why the wife struggles with all of this, frustration sets in and resentment may set in and all that. These are some of the challenges that young couple face. But now let's go to the side of the female to see how they cope. After marriage, a lot of ladies may need to change their original position. Of course, the man is now the head if you're a Christian. So most time he won't pick a location that is just favorable to the woman. If your man can do that or your man did that, considered you first and maybe change his job so that he can relocate to your place, and then he did something exceptional. But what happens most time is this woman may be forced to even resign her job. By the ways, I don't advise that, not this time, please. Don't try that. Find a way to walk around, find a way to get a transfer, find a way around it. If you are not sure it's going to be settled before marriage, please don't go ahead just yet. Give yourself time to settle that aspect of it. Don't leave ambiguity, because by the time you leave it open and say, well, we'll cope with it when is the man may step into that position of headship and say, oh, you are not submissive, leave that job and come to my place. And at the end of the day, you may want to tilt towards favoring him more. So please settle it. Come to terms with yourself and also with your spouse on what you want to do concerning your career. The woman may need to move, relocate. Some women change job, or no, not change job. They stop working, then they start looking for job. But we all know how not easy it is to find job these days. So they move to another place. That is there, and moving comes with its own kind of issues. You know, you are leaving the environment you're used to, you are leaving the family you're used to, you're leaving the friends you are used to, and I don't think we consider this enough. Many times it's often heard that, oh, female, when they marry, they leave their friend. It is most time not intentional. Apart from physical separation, you don't have your head space filled with the needs of a particular person. So many times it is quite challenging to meet up with the demand of your other friendship, because well, you have 24 hours in a day. And this becomes worse if you get pregnant. You're not engrossed in your own world and in what your body is going through. And when you eventually have children, that is the real ghetto, because 100% of your attention is now on your children and your husband, and the demands are a lot. And in fact, single people find that life boring. Okay, if you bring your sister into the house, or you bring your friend, if they are loving people, they will assist you, but I tell you, they will go back quick, because that life isn't pleasant. It is boring. And that is one of the issues which, okay, I diverted, but I was just talking on the issues with physical relocation. So next, you find the woman having to change career, of course, probably because of physical relocation. Most time, I'm not saying for everybody. My friend once told me, a male friend told me that what's wrong with gays? That you see them bright, you see them promising in school, but once they get married, they just go downhill. It is not that they went downhill. The attention changes. We stop thinking of ourselves. We start considering our husband and our children first. And we are built to love. We are so loving naturally. We are nurturing naturally. So these things take over our entire being. Unlike the male folks, like I tell you, their life basically goes on, and it goes easier for them because somebody is handling some aspect of their lives. Immediately I had a child, I had this note that, okay, now I've given birth, it's time to face my life. And then I realized how much independent this child is. And I was asking my mom, is this how, the child will be crying, and, you'll be trying to figure out what is wrong with the child, and the child is just glued to your body all the time. And that's why, girls, even if you marry your soulmate, it's still going to be challenging. Let alone when you marry an irresponsible person. Please don't do that to yourself. You need support from family, and most importantly, support from your husband. You don't want to feel like you are the only one in that relationship. When the man comes back from work, goes to bed and sleep, never offers any assistance, never offers any help, and you are struggling, you're having sleepless nights, and all he says is, oh, well done. Hello, you are alone in that marriage. And it is time for you to start placing demand on the man, even whether he likes it or not. Request that he participate in what is happening. Have a conversation with him. If you married a sensible person, have a conversation with such a person. You can't continue in that life doing it alone. It is not one person's job. That's why there are two parents. So because many of these men haven't been brought up that way, they haven't been taught to nurture, and they haven't been told that many of them don't fully grasp the responsibility of marriage. They see it as a place where they can have children, and they just see the positive parts where the woman can cater to their needs and all of that. They don't see the fatherhood. They don't see the headship that involves service. So sorry, ladies, that our men are brought up this way. We as mothers of this generation, we need to do better for the men, for our boys, for the sake of the girls coming. We need to do better for both of them. You may have to do the hard work of schooling that man and the fact that this is our responsibility. This is not yours alone to carry. Don't try to do it alone. Don't be the superwoman. You're drawn in all of this and you will lose yourself in the process. If your man isn't supportive, place a demand for his supportiveness. Place a demand for his presence. Ask him to make sure he prioritizes his family. Now that is with motherhood. They tell you it gets easier, but I'm afraid that is a very long time to wait. You can't wait till your child is 10, till your child is 15, till your child is 20. Your life will be gone. So even though it gets easier, what I've realized is there are challenges for each stage of the children's life till adulthood, till they become fully independent. The teenage age comes with its own challenges. Adolescence comes with puberty and its own set of challenges. When they are kids, you have to monitor them, you have to watch what they watch, you have to, instruct them. There's going to be sibling rivalry. Your mind is constantly engaged, and your headspace is very important. That what you make time for is what you become, is what will grow in your life. So many times we see women struggling with different things and themselves, just trying to meet up with career, meet up with things. When your head is free, you make so much more progress in other aspects of your life, but you are fully engaged in that process. And I pray your man is with you. I pray you marry a man who is also in this with you. So please, let's stop over glamorizing marriage for our children. Let's make them understand that it is a call to responsibility to the male children, to the female children. Let's make sure that they know the reality of what they are getting into, not the fantasy of what they are getting into. And especially for the female children, it's not all about the ring, all about the wedding. Wake up, sisters. That's not what it is about. And no man is doing you a favor because they are marrying you. No, you are the one doing them a favor. You are the one sacrificing much more. Okay, next let's move to the changes that happen in our body. Hey, the first few weeks of pregnancy for most women, you are not yourself. A lot of women experience hyperemesis. For me, I felt like I didn't even own myself. Like, couldn't eat, constantly hungry, yet I couldn't keep anything down. Vomiting all the while, being excessively weak. There was a day I almost died. I had to still drive a cake to my child's school because I had already dressed him up for his birthday. So these are the challenges and things you have to step into. It's a tough phase, and many times I feel we don't say this enough. And I'm not trying to even be negative or anything. It's just the reality. It is a tough phase. And then even after the first few months, it doesn't get sweet, easy, glowy like they try to paint it. The rest of the pregnancy, apart from the second trimester, which is relatively calm and you'll be energetic, the third trimester, you are heavy, you are dragging yourself, you have to slow down on work, you have to slow down on things you can achieve in the other aspect of your life, because yes, you are carrying a human being and it is worth it. Okay, so many times we even make women feel like they can't complain about these things because it's a privilege. Yes, it is a privilege, but it doesn't change how challenging it is. Then the child comes forward. Who is the primary caregiver of the child? You. Who is going to be stuck with this child for the next 1-2 years? You. In the Western world, we see men, being more supportive, but we still struggle with that in the African setting. Most men haven't stepped up to that responsibility. Many men act like it is the duty of the woman to take care of the children. How is your weaker vessel supposed to be the one to carry all this burden? And so men even get pissed because the woman's body changes. Most women don't even have time for themselves to the extent of exercising or trying to get into shape, or they don't have the time. And some men will even insist that, you're not getting help in this house, so I don't want any stranger in this house. Why? Some of them will have sexual insecurity. They think that they are going to lose it because there's a help in the house. So much lack of discipline that we excuse these men from. We need to do better as a society. But please reject that form of abuse. Any man that says no help in the house, let him take up the responsibilities of the help. Let him do the laundry, let him clean the house. What about the psychological aspect of things? So women are made to feel like they haven't achieved much because they are not financially contributing to the home. Because in the case of some women that lost their job because they moved or they couldn't get a job, but their mind and their physical body is fully engrossed in taking care for their house, or like they made the create an enabling environment for the men to go out and thrive, and yet they are made to feel, I'm talking about the stay-at-home mom, and yes, they are made to feel as if they are not doing anything with their life. They are not, you've not achieved anything with your life. You are not contributing. The one bringing the money. That is rubbish. The work women do, taking care of children, it overshadows the work that brings the money. Because if you are to pay for all the services, it should be more than what you go out to earn. That cause for some respect. No woman should be made to feel like she isn't contributing significantly. It may not be, in fact, financially, because, like I said, could have paid for those services. So it's either you are also fully involved in those duties. And if you are not, you should not make her feel like she isn't contributing, because that is the aspect she's contributing. She's contributing her body, she's contributing her brain, she's contributing her time, she's contributing her physical energy to raising your children, keeping the home, warming your bed, and you say she isn't contributing anything because you are bringing money. I dare to say that all of those things are worth more than your money. I just feel like we should stop this deceit. We should stop painting marriage as the ultimate. There are so many girls out there not even utilizing their life properly because they are waiting to get married. Marriage is not what you think. It's a lot of responsibility for females. Your life changes drastically after marriage. Considering all the things I've spoken about, the changes are drastic. The challenges are a lot. And I dare to say there are more irresponsible men out there than the responsible ones. What are your chances of finding a man who will be your all in all? It's less than average. These days we're having most women who are divorced enjoying their life much more than when they were married. Love is a beautiful thing, don't get me twisted, but make sure you are doing it with the right person, not just the jittering feeling of we are in love feeling. No, make sure that the love is a practical one, the love that is kind, the love that is patient, the love that puts you first, not the feeling, because that feeling will fail you. That feeling will fail your partner, who may or may not be ready for that role. The essence of this whole message is that you marry right and you have your head in the right place when you are making a choice of a partner. Please, it's a plea I have for you. Life can be so much different depending on who you associate with, who you marry. You owe it to yourself. You owe it to your children. One thing you should consider when you're about to get married or pick up is, will I be happy if my children turn out to be the way this man is? Because whether you like it or not is a major contribution to their life as well. Parenting comes with your child. You want to constantly be arguing what to do to the children, what not to do, what to allow, what to not allow. Marry someone who values you, who fears God. Because it's the fear of God that keeps some men in check, that makes them vulnerable to say how they feel and to listen when you say how you feel. Because many of them are brought up to believe so much in their ego and they allow it to color every conversation they have. A major power you have is choosing right. Because even if a man asks you out, you have the right to say no. Make sure you are convinced before you jump into that ship. Don't be deceived by the glamorization of marriage for the female folks. It's the men that are enjoying marriage more. And I pray that you enjoy yours in Jesus' name.